Welcome to NEXTGames, a guide to ninja series. This episode covering Elite Blade Kamu Gearsets. In this video, I'll give you an overview of Blade Kamu, a comparison to other weapon skills, tell you which situations you'll use it in, and then show you all of the gear that you will use in your Elite Blade Kamu Gearset. Now, Blade Kamu is the weakest of all of Ninja's endgame weapon skills. However, you still may find yourself in situations where you may need to use it. It is a single target weapon skill that has an FTP of 1. It will blind your enemy when it lands for 60 to 180 seconds depending on your TP level, but it's only an accuracy reduction of 10, so it's not very potent. It has fragmentation and compression skill chain properties. Now, Blade Kamu's modifiers are 60% strength and 60% intelligence. It also has an attack modifier on it that boosts your attack by 125% and lowers the enemy's defense by 25%. This equates to an attack multiplier of 3, which means this weapon skill has a nice attack boost on it similar to Blade Shun, but that also means that you will attack cap on it much sooner, which makes it so it doesn't respond as well to buffs as some of the other weapon skills. Its best damage will be achieved with the Nagi weapon, as it will give you a 30% Blade Kamu boost to its damage, and its aftermath will allow you to hit twice, 40% of the time, and thrice, 20% of the time. Now for the offhand, the Fudo Maximum will provide your best results when in a trust situation, and the Turnian +1 augmented through Odyssey in any capped buff situation will be your best option to go with. Next, let's go over the Blade Kamu damage comparison. Now before I go over the DPS comparisons, I want to say that there is currently some debate on whether Blade Kamu performs this poorly with the Nagi. There is little doubt that it's the worst of the weapon skills for Ninja, but some feel these numbers have it further behind than it should be. Nagi is the only Ninja weapon I have not finished yet, so I can't do any of my own tests with this. Now once I finish my Nagi, I'll go ahead and update this video with my findings. Until then though, all we have to go off of is the spreadsheet for comparisons, and this is what it shows. Now in a trust situation, we have Blade Shun coming out in first, and a reminder that it also has the ability to self-light skill chain, so that would increase its DPS numbers even more. Blade He is in second, it can self-dark skill chain, as can our third place weapon skill Blade Metsu, so all three of their DPS numbers would go up. Blade 10 is in fourth, Blade Ku is in fifth, and there's Kamu all the way there at the bottom, about 800 DPS behind our winner, Blade Shun. It does have the ability to self-light skill chain though, when you do use it with Shun, so that does increase its DPS numbers a little in this situation. Now in a capped buff situation, Blade 10 is going to go from 4th all the way to the top spot with 6685 DPS using the Hishi-Hitaki combination. This is followed by Blade He and Metsu that are still in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Blade Ku has climbed up to 4th, Blade Shun has fallen from 1st to 5th, and Blade Kamu is right there in 6th place at 4076 DPS. About 2600 DPS lower than our winner, and over 2000 DPS lower than 2nd and 3rd. Now it does have the ability to self-light skill chain with Shun, but that is definitely not enough to make up for all of that loss to DPS. So as you can see, we definitely won't be using Blade Kamu for DPS reasons, and even if you have a Nagi, it looks like almost every other weapon skill will still outdamage it. However, there is still one big reason to use this weapon skill: skill chains. If you do not have a Hishi, then Blade Kamu followed by Blade Shun is your best way to make a self-light skill chain. If you have a Hishi, then Blade Kamu opens lots of multi-step light skill chain options for you. Those possibilities include 10 followed by Kamu followed by Shun for a light skill chain, 10 followed by Kamu followed by Shun for a radiance, and my favorite, Shun followed by 10 followed by Kamu followed by Shun for the ultimate radiance. Now since Blade Shun also gets a nice boost to its attack, these two weapon skills complement each other well in non-cap situations. For stat priorities, in uncapped situations you want to focus on strength, then attack, then weapon skill damage, then multi-attack, making sure not to completely neglect intelligence. Now in cap situations, you want to focus on weapon skill damage, then multi-attack, then strength, and then intelligence. That'll be it for the Blade Kamu discussion. Let's go ahead and delve into the gear and see what that looks like for both capped and trust situations. For the main weapon, as already stated, in both trust and cap situations, you definitely want to use the Nagi. Due to its blade Kamu damage plus 30% stat, in addition, its aftermath will have you either hit twice 40% of the time or thrice 20% of the time. Now for your offhand slot, in a trust situation, you want to use the Fudo Masamune. In a capped situation, you want to use the Turnian dagger that is augmented through Odyssey due to that weapon skill damage plus 5% stat that it has on it. Next onto the ammo slot. Here in a trust situation, we have the Seething Bomblet plus 1 being the winner, making sure it's augmented through Odyssey with a strength plus 10. Now in a cap situation, the Arglumer Orb plus 1 is still the best in slot. It'll cost you 70 to 100 million gil off the auction house. Now I will say that the Seething Bomblet plus 1 is only 1 DPS behind this on the spreadsheets. So if you don't want to spend that 70 to 100 mil, you can go ahead and just do the Seething Bomblet plus 1 in your cap situation, and you're only going to be 1 DPS behind. Now that's only with the Unity ranking being the maximum. If the Unity ranking for you is not the maximum, then of course it's going to fall more and more behind as that strength number drops. For instance, if you only have 3 strength, it drops by 10 DPS, and if you only have 1 strength added, it drops by 22 DPS. Next, the head slot. Here we use the same piece of gear in both trust and cap situations, which is the Hachiya Hatsuburi plus 3. Now in a trust situation, we could substitute the Mochizuki Hatsuburi plus 3 and only lose a single DPS, or the Edamar Bonnet plus 1 and only lose 3 DPS. However, in a cap situation, there is no alternative. You definitely want to use that Hatsuburi plus 3. Now in the next slot, for a trust situation, you want to use the Fosha Gorget, and in a cap situation, the Ninja Nodowa plus 2. There are no alternatives to either of them. They are definitely the best in slot above and by far in their situation. And now for the earring slots. Let's start with the left ear. In a trust situation, you want to use the Balder Earring plus 1. In a cap situation, the Brutal Earring is what you'd like to use. Now you can use either of these in the other situation. You will lose 7 DPS if you use the Brutal Earring in a trust situation, and you'll only lose 1 DPS if you use the Balder over the Brutal in a cap situation. Now in regards to the right earring, it's a very easy decision. The Lugra Earring plus 1 is definitely the best in slot in both capped and trust situations. Now for our body slot, we have 2 clear best in slot winners for both trust and cap situations. In a trust situation, you want to use the Agony Jerkin plus 1, augmented through Odyssey. In a cap situation, use the Kendut Saba body, and it will give you the best overall DPS. Next, the hand slot, where we use the exact same piece in both trust and cap situations, which is the Adamar Wristbands plus 1 on path B. Now in the trust situation, we do have an alternative, which is the Herculean Hands. If we can get those with a boost of 10 strength and 5 weapon skill damage as augments, we actually can increase our DPS by 5 here. Now for the ring slots. Here we have 2 different options in a trust and cap situation for the left ring. In a trust situation, you want to use the Regal Ring with its strength and attack bonus. In a cap situation, you won't need to be worrying about that attack bonus, so instead you want to focus on multi-attack. So you want to use the Epona's Ring, which will give you the best overall DPS. Now in the right finger, you actually want to use the same ring for both, which is the Gear Ring. With its strength, attack boost, and triple attack 5%, there's nothing else that's going to beat this for this right finger slot. For our back piece, it's the Andartia's Mantle, like always. This one with the augments of Strength 30, Accuracy 20, Attack 20, and Weapon Skill Damage plus 10%. For the waist slot, there is only a single option for both trust and cap situations, and that is the Salifi Belt plus 1, augmented with Strength plus 15 and Double Attack plus 5%. Next, we'll go over the leg slot. Here, it is once again the same item for both capped and trust situations, and that is the Mochizuki Hakama plus 3. There is no alternatives here. This one's always going to give you the best DPS output for this slot. For our last slot, the feet slot, in the trust situation, you want to use the Mochizuri Kaihan plus 3. Now, if you happen to get Herc feet augmented with plus 10 strength and 5% weapon skill damage, you actually can end up getting the same DPS or about half a DPS more out of those Herc feet. And in our cap situation, you want to use the Ru Sun 8 plus 1 on path A. Now you can also use the Hachiya Kaihan plus 3 and you'll only lose 2 DPS, or you can use those same Herc feat augmented with 10 strength and 5 weapon skill damage, and you will actually pick up 17 DPS, so a real good amount to gain there if you can land those augments. That will be it for the Blade Kamu Elite Gear Set video. I hope you found that helpful. Our next 2 videos will be covering Blade Chi and 2, then the video after that will be covering Savage Blade. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy.